all of you. This is class 11th, subject biology, chapter 9 biomolecules, lecture number 6. Today we will discuss about topics enzymes, chemical reactions, concept of activation energy and nature of enzyme action. So let's start with enzymes. These are some general characteristic features of enzymes. First is enzymes are biological catalysts which influence the speed of biochemical reactions. So catalysts are the molecules which speed up the rate of any reaction. Okay, and here because we are talking about speeding up the rate of biochemical reaction, that's why these catalysts are called biological catalysts. That's why we are saying enzymes are biological catalysts, because these speed up the rate of biochemical reactions, or you can say the metabolic reactions which are occurring inside our body. Next is all enzymes are proteins, but all proteins are not enzymes. All enzymes are proteins. It means all enzymes are made up of proteins, but all proteins are not enzymes. Means proteins can perform some other functions also. Okay, all proteins are not enzymes because proteins can be receptors, protein can be channel, protein can be a hormone. Okay, so there are different type of proteins. So all proteins are not enzymes. Next feature is enzymes are specific. Each enzyme has its own substrate. Like all the lock has means every lock has its own key. We can say it is specific for a key. Likewise, enzyme is also specific. Each enzyme has its own substrate, and here you can see this key is acting like an enzyme. Okay, and these shapes in this key are like functional shape where the substrate can fit. Okay, this lock present here is like a substrate. So for each enzyme there is a specific substrate. Likewise, for each key there is a specific lock. Next is ribozymes. Like we are saying, all enzymes are proteins. So this is an exception, you can say. Like ribozymes. Ribozymes are enzymes which are made up of nucleic acid. So here some nucleic acid also act like enzyme, like RNA. So RNA also behave like enzyme sometimes, and that enzyme or the RNA behaving like enzyme is called ribozyme. Next feature is enzymes form tertiary structure, that is 3D structure with some services, that is called pockets. So these pockets are also called active sites which are present in tertiary structure of enzyme. And in these active site or pockets, you can say substrate can fit. Okay, so these active sites are the sites in which substrate fits. So you can see here, like these are the active sites of enzyme. This you can say this is 3D structure of an enzyme. Okay, and these are like active sites of enzyme where substrate can fit. Understand more about the enzyme action, we need to understand first about the chemical reactions. So let's do it. Chemical compounds undergoes two types of changes, and these two types of changes are physical change and chemical change. So a physical change is a change in shape or state of matter without breaking bonds. So there is no breaking of bonds. For example, ice melts into water, water becomes vapor, as you can see here. When ice melts into water and water becomes vapors. So these are physical changes because no bond breaking is occurring here, right? And chemical change or chemical reaction, in this bonds are broken and new bonds are formed. It may be organic or inorganic reaction. So both organic and inorganic chemical reactions can be there. Like inorganic reaction in which BaOH2 plus H2SO4 converts into BaSO4 plus 2 molecules of water. And organic reaction like starch plus water results into formation of glucose. So both these are chemical changes. Here what happened, bond breaking or bond formation occur. Like here you can see this molecule is present here, and due to heat energy these bonds break. Okay, and here these broken bonds have been joined, so bond making is occurring here, right? So this is chemical reaction. Now rate of a physical or chemical process is equal to amount of product formed per unit time. Amount of product is the substance that will be formed from the substrate. Okay, so amount of product formed per unit time is called rate of reaction. Okay, and it is represented by delta P. Delta P is for amount of product formed per unit time. So unit time is represented by delta T. So delta P upon delta T is rate of reaction. So rate of reaction that you know now, that product formed per unit time. Rate is called velocity if the direction is specified. Okay, rates of physical and chemical processes are influenced by factors such as temperature. Generally, rate doubles or decrease by half every 10 degrees Celsius change in either direction. So when there is change in temperature, because for every enzyme there is a specific temperature to work. Okay, generally what happen, if temperature is increased by 10 degrees Celsius, then rate of reaction double. Okay, and in either direction. So if temperature decrease by 10 degrees Celsius, then reaction can become half, right? So rate double, so decrease by half for every 10 degrees Celsius change in temperature in either direction. Now rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction is very high. That's why these enzymes are called biocatalysts, because these catalyze the reactions, and the catalyzed reactions rate will be very high. For example, carbonic anhydrase. Here you can see this enzyme is carbonic anhydrase enzyme, is the fastest enzyme. It accelerates the following reaction in 10 million times. 10 million times means rate of reaction will be 10 million times faster. So here you can see how this enzyme works. Carbon dioxide plus water results into formation of carbonic acid, that is H2CO3. Right, now when this reaction occur in absence of enzyme, then only 200 molecules of H2CO3 are formed in 1 hour. But in the presence of this enzyme, about 6 lakh molecules are formed per second. Okay, here only 200 molecules are forming in 1 hour. And here you can see in the presence of enzyme, 6 lakh molecules are forming per second. So we can say this reaction rate has been increased approximately 10 million times. So this is the work of any enzyme. Okay, you can see this incredible change in rate of reaction. Okay, and it occurs due to presence of enzymes. That's why these are biocatalysts. In a metabolic pathway, means any biochemical reaction, you can say, each step is catalyzed by different enzymes. For example, in glycolysis, 10 different enzymes take place. What is glycolysis? In short, you can say conversion of glucose into pyruvic acid. Okay, in short, you can say glycolysis is the conversion of one molecule of glucose into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. But this is not a single step reaction. This is a 10-step reaction. Okay, and every step one different enzyme take part. Okay, that reaction is catalyzed by different enzymes, as you can see here. First of all, glucose will convert into glucose 6-phosphate, then it will convert into fructose 6-phosphate, Okay, and here you can see the enzymes also. When glucose convert into glucose 6-phosphate, this reaction is catalyzed by enzyme hexokinase. Then on the next step, reaction is catalyzed by another enzyme. Then here another enzyme. Okay, so at each step a different enzyme is present to catalyze the reaction. Okay, at this time you don't need to learn all these 10 steps. You just need to understand that how enzymes work to catalyze the biochemical reactions. Okay, so here for the conversion of glucose into pyruvic acid, many enzymes are involved, or so we can say that for a metabolic pathway, enzymes work as biocatalysts. Now we will understand about the nature of enzyme action. Enzyme acts with substrate like a lock and key modal action. It includes following steps. So these steps are steps for enzyme action. So first of all, substrate binds to active site of enzyme. As you can see here, this is enzyme and this is substrate. This site is called active site of enzyme. Okay, so first of all, substrate binds with it, right? And at this stage it will be called E plus S. Then this includes some changes in enzyme, so that substrate is tightly bound with active site of enzyme to form enzyme substrate complex. So what will happen when the substrate comes in contact with the active site of enzyme, some changes will occur in enzyme, due to which what will happen, a tight bond will be formed between substrate and enzyme and a complex will be formed. Okay, due to that tight bond formation, there will be formation of a complex, and that complex will be called enzyme substrate complex or ES. Okay, here from E plus S condition it has converted to ES due to tight bond formation. Next is the active site breaks chemical bonds of substrate to form enzyme product complex. What will happen now? What is the work of enzyme here? The active site of the enzyme will break the chemical bonds of substrate. Okay, here, there will be some chemical bonds in the substrate. Okay, so those bonds will be broken here. Like you can see, the enzyme action has been started here, right? And due to these bond breakage, here you can see this yellow color is shown here for the substrate. Okay, now due to bond breakage, you can see here these different color, because there will be different molecules in one substrate, right? So those bonds will be broken down by active site of the enzyme to convert the substrate into product, right? So here what will happen, first of all, enzyme product complex will be formed. So this enzyme product complex has been formed here, and after that the enzyme releases the products and the free enzyme is ready to bind to other molecules of the substrate. As you can see here, enzyme has done its work and it will release the product. Okay, the separated molecules of the substrate, you can say the product will be released here, it will get separate from the enzyme, and now this enzyme will be ready to bind with another substrate, right? And this condition here, this condition will be called E plus P. Like in starting it was E plus S, now it has been formed E plus P. Okay, so this is how enzyme works, nature of enzyme action. This pathway goes through some unstable transition state structures. About these also we will discuss, that what are these transition state structures which occur during this pathway. Now we need to think that how do enzymes speed up a chemical reaction? Means what will be the difference due to enzyme on the rate of a reaction? Means for the conversion of substrate into product, what will be the effect of enzyme? So let's understand about that. Concept of activation energy. This concept will help you to understand that how an enzyme work to speed up a chemical reaction, biochemical reaction. Okay, so First of all, you need to understand what is activation energy. So activation energy is the additional energy required to start a chemical reaction. Okay, for the starting of a chemical reaction or a biochemical reaction, you can say there is requirement of some energy, and that energy is called activation energy. In an exothermic or endothermic reaction, I hope you know about these exothermic and endothermic reaction, the substrate must go through a much higher energy state. It is called transition state energy, right? Means for the conversion of substrate into product, there is requirement of the substrate to go through a higher energy state, and that higher energy state is called transition state energy, okay, for the substrate. Therefore, activation energy is the difference between average energy of substrate and transition state energy. You can see it here in this graph. Like here progress of reaction is shown on one side, and on another side this is potential energy, right? Now you see here, this is substrate here, okay, and for the conversion of substrate into product, there is need of some energy, okay, and this is called average energy state of the substrate. Then for the conversion into product, it need to go to the transition state. So this is called transition state. This state here, this is called transition state of the substrate. Only after achieving this transition state, this substrate can convert into product, right? If this substrate will not be able to achieve the transition state, then it will not convert into product, right? So we can say for this chemical reaction, there is requirement of this energy so that the substrate can come into transition state, okay? So this is the energy which is required here for starting the chemical reaction. Got it? This is the energy from here to here. This can be called activation energy, okay? Activation energy is the energy by which a substrate can change its state from average energy state to transition state, okay, and only after achieving the transition state it can form product, right? So now let's understand the role of enzyme here. Like you can see here, without enzyme, means in the absence of enzyme, you can say this substrate need to go here in the transition state with that much energy. Like from here to here, you can see this is the activation energy which is required if there is no enzyme. Means more energy is required to convert the substrate from its average energy state to its transition state. More activation energy is required from here to here, as you can see. But in the presence of enzyme, this activation energy will become less. As you can see here in this pink line, this is representing from here to here. This is activation energy required in presence of enzyme, right? So what is the role of enzyme here? Due to presence of enzyme, activation energy for the reaction becomes less. So now substrate need less energy to convert into product, or you can say to go into its transition state. In presence of enzyme, this is the transition state, this one, okay, and in absence of enzyme, this is the transition state which is required to convert it into product, right? So this is the role of enzyme, to lower down the activation energy, basically, you can say. One more important point about the concept of activation energy is if the product that is represented by P is at a lower energy level than the substrate. As you can see here, this is substrate here and this is product here. So energy level you can compare here. Substrate is at higher energy level and product is at lower energy level than substrate, okay. So if product product is at a lower energy level than substrate, the reaction is an exothermic reaction. Means energy is released during the reaction. Exothermic reaction means energy is released during the reaction, right? And that reaction will be called spontaneous reaction, and it requires no energy. Because energy is released during exothermic reaction, it means there is no requirement of energy, no energy by heating to form the product, right? And if the product is at higher energy level than substrate, it means the reaction is endothermic reaction and there is requirement of energy, right? Now in a biochemical reaction, enzymes lower the activation energy. As a result, speed of reaction increases. So this is all about the concept of activation energy and how the enzymes help in speeding up the rate of chemical reaction. Now your homework for today is NCERT question number 6 and 12. Now let's discuss the homework solutions of previous lecture, and this is question number 2 of NCERT. In this question you need to describe different types of bonds. So all these bonds we have discussed in our lectures also. Now we will just revise these bonds, okay? So first is glycosidic bond you need to describe. So glycosidic bond is the bond between the individual monosaccharides. Monosaccharides means sugars. And that bond is also called glycosidic linkage. This bond is formed between two carbon atoms of two adjacent monosaccharide units. As you can see here, these two glucose molecules are present here, right? These are carbons present here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 carbon are present in glucose, right? And here bond is formed between two carbon atoms, as you can see here. Here between this carbon and this carbon. These bonds, this glycosidic bond will be formed with the release of one water molecule, because here OH from one glucose molecule and H from another glucose molecule will be released as water, and this O will be present here, and this bond is called glycosidic bond. And when these two glucose molecule will link with each other by glycosidic bond formation, the resulting structure will be called maltose, which is a disaccharide. Next bond is peptide bond, and it is a covalent bond and it is formed between amino acids. So the amino acids in proteins are linked to one another through peptide bonds, and this peptide bond is formed between the carboxyl group of one amino acid and amino group of adjacent amino acid. As you can see here, this is one amino acid having this alpha carbon. On one side it is having NH2, means amino group. On one side this carboxyl group is present here, COOH, right? And this is alkyl group, variable alkyl group, and this is H. So this complete structure is of one amino acid, right? And this is another amino acid, right? Here R2 is representing another alkyl group of the second amino acid, you can see. So here bond is formed between carboxyl group of one amino acid and the amino group of adjacent amino acid, right? So you can see here this bond is formed here, and OH from the carboxyl group and H from the NH2 group is utilized here for the release of water. So one water molecule will be released here and the bond will be formed like CO and H. So this peptide bond is formed here between two adjacent amino acids. Next type of bond is phosphodiester bond, and this bond joins successive sugar molecules in a polynucleotide. Polynucleotides means that form a nucleic acid, DNA or RNA. So here bond is formed between successive sugar molecules. It is a strong covalent bond formed between two adjacent sugar groups and phosphate. These are the bonds that form the sugar phosphate backbone of nucleic acids, means of DNA. So here you can see this is one sugar molecule. On the first position of this one nitrogen base is attached, right? And this bond is formed between 3 carbon of one sugar and 5 carbon of the adjacent sugar. So you can see here this is 3rd carbon of this sugar and this is 5th carbon of adjacent sugar, right? And this bond will be formed here, like the phosphoester bond is formed here, and because two ester bonds will be formed here. Here with the third position of this sugar molecule, one phosphate is attached, so one ester bond will be formed here, and with this carbon also one phosphate is attached, that's why one ester bond will be formed here, and complete bond will be called phosphodiester bond. As you can see here, this phosphodiester bond will be formed here. Next is question number 4 of NCERT, that find and write down structures of 10 interesting small molecular weight biomolecules. Find out if there is any industry which manufactures the compounds by isolation, and find out who are the buyers. So first you need to tell about the structures of small molecular weight biomolecules, okay, means biomicromolecules you can say. So here first you can tell about the structure of glucose. So this is cyclic structure of glucose. Here 6 carbon ring you will form first of all, okay, and on each position there will be like OH, H, OH, H, OH with the carbon, okay. These 4 corners are representing carbons here. This is first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth and fifth, like this, okay. So this will be the structure for glucose. HOH, then on second position also HOH, then here also, then here and here there will be CH2OH on the 6th carbon position. So the structure will be for C6H12O6. Second, this is structure for uracil, and here for uracil benzene ring will be formed first of all, okay. 6 carbon ring is formed here, and NH is present here on the 3rd and 5th position. Next is structure of glycerol, and this is the structure for glycerol. You have done it earlier also, CH2OH, CHOH and CH2OH. This is a structure for ribose, which is a 5 carbon ring, as you can see here. First 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, this one, okay. These total 5 carbons are present here, so this 5 membered ring is formed here, okay. And the remaining structure will be like that of glucose, like HOH, HOH, here also there will be H, OH and it will be CH2OH. So it will be like glucose, just the difference will be that was 6 membered ring and it is 5 membered ring. Then next is structure of cholesterol, which is a you can say a complex type of lipid. So for cholesterol structure you will make these rings here, benzene rings will be formed here, attached with each other, and there will be presence of this OH on this first benzene ring. The next is structure of adenosine, and on adenosine you will just make the ribose sugar first, and on first position of that you will show the attachment of adenine. Then this is structure of an amino acid, and this is glycine amino acid where the variable group is H. This is one phospholipid, and in phospholipid there is presence of fatty acids with one glycerol. A glycerol molecule is esterified, means with the help of ester bonds it is attached with 3 different fatty acids. So on the first position you can see this one fatty acid is attached, on second position also this fatty acid is attached here, and on the third position also this fatty acid having this phosphate group POO third side, and this OH is present here and having this formula. So this type of fatty acid is present here on the third position for the phospholipid. You need to learn all this, that this chain is present in phospholipid. The next is adenylic acid structure, and here you can do this structure easily. This is ribose sugar, on the first position there is adenine, and here on the 5th carbon this phosphate group is attached. So all these are structure of different biomicromolecules. You can learn the structures, some different structures also, like if you find any structure very difficult, Then you can learn some easy structures like as you know that adenosine structure is very simple. Also this adenylic acid structure is simple. So likewise you can do the structure of cytidyllic acid, cytosine, okay, or any other amino acid structure you can do here, right? So you don't need to do the structures of phospholipid, cholesterol, like this difficult structure if you find this. Now these are some compounds and these are the manufacturers, the you can say the companies which are manufacturing, industries which are manufacturing these compounds, okay, and these are the buyers, the institutes which are buying these compounds manufactured by these industries. So the compound starch is manufactured by an industry called Premier Starch Products Private Limited, okay, and who buy the starch from this industry? Research institutes and laundries, different research institutes buy this starch from this industry. Liquid glucose is manufactured by Imperial Liquid Glucose Industry, and it is used in making flavored drink and in research also. Then enzymes like amylase, protease and cellulase, these are required for different purposes, and these are manufactured by Planet Biotech India, and these enzymes are also used in many research. This is question number 5 of NCERT, and the question is proteins have primary structure. If you are given a method to know which amino acid is at either of the two termini, means on the ends of a protein, can you connect this information to purity or homogeneity of a protein? So the answer will be positional information of a protein is called the primary structure of the protein, right? In primary structure of protein, we study about the position of the amino acids in that linear chain of polypeptide, right? And the number of amino acids. So the first amino acid in a protein is called N-terminal amino acid, and the last amino acid is called C-terminal amino acid, right? So yes, we can connect this information to check the purity or homogeneity of a protein. On the basis of carboxyl and amino groups, amino acids can be acidic, basic and neutral. So protein can be acidic, basic and neutral.